Hi and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. I've been talking about this cottage project in a couple of previous videos. In fact, you saw the beginnings of that in the thatch roof video. Happy to say that that project is now done. Happy to also say that this project has given me a few more ideas of videos that I want to share with you. So wanted to give you a couple pictures to take a look at, so I'm going to put something probably right about here for you. So here's a photo of the cottage. It's one of those things where I put in all these little bits of different detail, and I was really happy and pleased with how they all came out. So what I want to do is, for this first video, I'm going to show you how I went about making the grass tufts that you can see along the wall of the cottage itself. And what I realized after creating those is that these have a lot more options to them than just tucking them up against, say, a stone wall. Once you get an idea of how these all work together, it's going to be very easy for you to take this and apply it to your own needs and wants. So I hope you take a look and enjoy it. Any questions, as always, please down below in the comments, ask away. I am more than happy to answer them for you. Don't forget, you can also find me through the email address as well as the Facebook group. Hope you enjoy it, and I will see you later. Bye.
To get things going, you're first going to want a few scrap pieces of foam board from Dollar Tree, and then you're going to take your knife and just bevel the edges as well as create some interesting shapes. These are what are going to be turned into the bases for your tufts of grass. The next thing you want to make sure you do is to take something like a penny or another metal item that has some heft to it, and you're going to glue that onto a piece of pizza box cardboard. Once that's secured on the cardboard, you then take your foam pieces and you will glue them on top of the cardboard and penny. We're using your hot glue gun. I used my low temp because the next step I did is put a thin bead of that glue around the outer edges of where the foam and the cardboard meet, and then just use my fingers to smooth things into each other. Just be careful doing this because the glue is still a little bit hot when it comes to this point. For now, what you can do is put these pieces to the side, let everything cool, and we're going to move on to making the tufts of grass. If you've watched the thatch roof video, a lot of this is going to look very familiar. You want your low temp hot glue gun in this case, because what you're going to do is, using that twine, is put a dollop at the base of the twine where it has not been unraveled quite yet. So get that dollop on, shape it around. You can even pinch your fingers together over it once it's cooled enough, just to make sure that glue really gets in there. Once that happens, what you want to do is trim off that length that you want, and then open up the twine fibers and fluff it out so it starts having a more grass-like appearance to it. And as you're fluffing out the fibers, this is going to give you a better sense of how long your grass is going to be, so if you need to, this is the good time to start trimming it down to the length you want it to be. The other option is to unroll the twine slightly so it has a flatter edge to the bottom, put the hot glue on, and same thing, pinch the hot glue around it, and this is going to elongate the form of the grass, which is great, especially if you want to tuck this up against a wall. Using a stencil brush and a gloss white acrylic paint, what you are going to do is, at the tips of the grass, is take that paint and start midpoint of the grass and pull the white up and out and keep it to that general area. You don't want the white to go all the way down to the base of the grass. You want some of that natural straw look to still be there once you're done. Then what you can do is, taking a pearlized white, is kind of the same concept except not quite at the same midpoint, but take that paint again with a stencil brush and put it towards the tip of the grass so it gets a frosted look to it. For the classic green grass, these are the paints I used. However, you can use a similar concept. Just make sure you have 3 tones of green, working from dark, medium to light levels of color. What you'll do is start with the darkest green, and at the base of the grass, start putting the green on that, pulling up towards the top, but not all the way through. Once you do that, you move on to the mid-tone green and you work on the middle points of the grass. And finally, you will take your lightest tone of green and work at the tips of the grass to get the color pulled up and out. And that will give you that natural gradient that these long grasses will have out in the real world. It will help to be sure that each time you're going to a different color, that the previous color is still slightly damp, so that you can blend the colors together so you don't get 3 separate colors marching across your grass. You want these to blend together nicely. For the burn grass, the colors are easy. It is a dark chocolate color, brown, and black. You're going to first start with the chocolate brown, and again, like the green grass, start at the base, bringing that brown color up from the bottom probably 2/3 of the way up to the grass, and then you're going to go back with the black paint and work the black from the midpoint of the grass to the very tips of the grass so it has that burned, charred look to it. Again, make sure your colors are wet in between so they blend nicely together. For this next step, it'll help to have a dull pencil on hand, and basically what you do is poke a hole into your bases where you want the tufts of grass to go. Put a dollop of hot glue using your low temp hot glue gun into the hole, and then you're going to place your tufts of grass into that hole. And it helps to cluster them close together so that you can hide sort of the different separated bits of them. But once you get them all into the general place you want them to be, you can go back around, add a little bit more hot glue just to sort of smooth things out a little bit at the very base of where the grass meets the foam. Just don't get carried away by putting too much glue around the bases, otherwise it's going to clump things together and it won't fluff out as nicely when that time comes. To give the bases more texture, what you're going to want to do is take your Elmer's glue and go around the base and just paint that glue around the base. Then over a plate you can take a sand of your choice. I used my black sand from Dollar Tree just so it would show up better for the video. It really doesn't matter the color because you are going to be painting these later. But basically get the sand on, let it dry completely before you move on to painting on the details for the bases themselves. For the frost grass, what you want to do is take your white gloss paint, add in some Elmer's glue, and you're going to paint the entire base. Once that is completely dry, you can go back with your pearlized white paint and put that around the edge just to start heightening the details that the paint and the sand bring out. When that is done, you can go back in with a hot glue gun, add in some ice texture around the base as well, up near the grass, and again take that pearlized paint and put that over the hot glue so the ice has more of a sheen and shimmer to it. Finally, what I did is a light gray wash and let that dry completely. For the charred grass, you just want to make sure that the base is painted first with a mix of black paint and the Elmer's glue. Let that dry completely and go back in using a stencil brush and put on that dark chocolate brown color around the base as well. Again, to heighten the detail and bring it out, but you do not want full coverage. You want this about a half and half look because the black becomes the charred bits of other grasses and plants underneath the tall grass. Finally, we'll take a look at just doing a classic paint for the classic green grass. Keep in mind that if at any time you're using these tufts separately and you don't want to put them into bases, just use the painting techniques for the grass itself. You can skip over the space detail. But for the classic green grass, all I did was first paint the base with a mix of the olive green and Elmer's glue, and I painted the base entirely to make sure the sand did not go anywhere. Then I took the dark chocolate brown paint from before and using my stencil brush put that in about 80% if not more of the piece of the base and then let that dry completely. Once that happened, I moved on to my lighter tones of green and I put them through using the stencil brush again as a means to highlight and bring out more of the details that the sand has brought to the texture of the base. When everything has dried, what you're going to do is take that dark chocolate brown again and do a wash with that color and again let that dry. Then go back with your brightest mid-tone green that you have and use that to dry brush some of the areas of the base as well to bring out the details that are there from the sand and just to finish off the look in its entirety. And here are a couple stills with the final looks for each variety. I hope this is helpful for you and I hope you have some ideas as to how you'd like to put these bits of grass to use in your own terrain. Any questions, please feel free to ask me and reach out and I'll do my best to help you. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.
It wouldn't be a video without them bloopers. God help me. I'm also going to show you just basic tufts of graphs. Tufts of graph. Why not? Let's just do tufts of graph. Skin graphs. That's even better. Ooh. I'm going to show you how to create a burned area of grass and surface. That doesn't make sense. This is me right now not liking me. I'm gonna explain where the flashies went So they'll be back. They're just not here for a little bit, so Christmas trees lights will have to do.
If you guys were wondering what happened to the swirly patterns in the background of my last video, this is what happened. I'm using it for my Christmas lights display outside, so we're gonna have a few weeks without this sucker inside because I zip stripped the power cords together so that the local teenagers can't take it, basically. So yeah, that's where it is right now. See?